Welcome to the next session of Baird's European Tech and Services Private Company Conference 2021. I'm Simon Pearson, a Managing Director in our Global Investment Banking Tech and Services team based in London. So it's my privilege today to introduce Luca from Mega International to introduce their exciting story of how they help companies transform and manage risk. So over to you, Luca.
Thank you very much, Simon. So my name is Luca. I'm the COO for Mega International. And Mega International is a 30-year-old company with a next-gen and a startup spirit, next-gen approach. What we do is software for enterprise architecture. And just as an introduction, enterprise architecture is a practice that is usually reporting directly to the CIO, and architects help the CIO transform the organization and especially the IT side with projects like modernizing the IT landscape, migrating applications to the cloud, or reducing IT costs or digitizing processes in general, okay? So that's what we do. We do software, and today I'd really like to show you our vision and approach for next generation enterprise architecture with our latest release, which was actually released last week, HopeX V5, that brings to life our vision for next generation enterprise architecture. So I'll give you a word about our vision, what we do in the software, and then come back to the company presentation and our growth plans overall. Okay, so the concept is based on the future-proof enterprise. And why the future-proof enterprise? Because everything changes and changes very fast. And digital transformation is not just a marketing buzz. I mean, I used to think so, to be honest. And a few years back, I thought change was normal. We saw since we were kids now, the emergence of Wi-Fi, of mobile phones, of iPhones, remote banking, online dating, remote work, everything is changing and it changes fast, which is normal. But when you look at change from inside a company, then it's actually complex. If you look at Mega, for instance, Mega was a on-premise software provider, and we shifted to a SaaS business model a few years back. And that is not just rehosting the application from a machine to a software provider on, a platform like Azure or AWS. It's more than that. It's a whole change of organization, the way you change your approach to customers and renewals, internal organization by product line and more. If it's complex for a smaller company like Mega, 350 people, imagine how it is for the larger companies of tens of thousands of people. It's complex, and to approach that kind of change and emerging technologies, there is a group called Enterprise Architecture, which role is to help plan and adapt to change. And they build a future-proof enterprise by helping companies be resilient, lean, and agile, and anticipating, adapting to change easy. So those are big words, but when it comes to examples, that's exactly what we mean by planning and adapting to change. I'll just take a few of those examples on the slide. Introducing new products and services. At Airbus, for instance, one of our customers for more than 20 years, they have a CEO-sponsored program where they build the plane of tomorrow out of a 7-year program in 10 different departments with HopeX. Not building the plane, of course, but designing the organization to design the plane with HopeX, which involves a change in business model, in IT, in data, in risk management. All that together so that there's collaboration around the new product. Or process digitization. I'll just take one example there. So many companies, customers of ours, they shift from paper to digital. They used to send paper mail by thousands to customers and prospects, and then they shift to a digital platform or at least email. Well, that change cannot happen without a good understanding of the customer journey, of the way the processes work, and of the systems, the IT systems that are used to digitize. And that's exactly what we do by putting those together. Or modernizing IT, migrating to the cloud, for instance, also requires that joint view of the business, the customer journey, and the applications to be migrated to the cloud. So concrete examples, transformation projects where architects have this key role of planning and adapting to change. And as I said, for these examples, there's one common feature that puts together all those examples for transformation. Every time it's an enterprise-wide initiative. If you want to migrate to the cloud, introduce new products, digitize your processes, you need to have a good understanding of your operating model, of your technology, of your data, of the new regulations you have to comply with, like GDPR and many more around data, and also of your risks, because transformation brings in a lot of new operational risks. So digital business requires a connected view of all this information to understand impacts and dependencies. And in the end, what we truly believe in is that transformation doesn't work in silos. So that's why we bring together those elements on a single platform called HOPEX. HOPEX stands for Holistic Operational Excellence, because it brings together this connected view of business processes, where you can actually map your business processes and automate even that mapping initially. Enterprise architecture with the inventory of your IT assets, and then the transformation and cost savings around your IT assets. Data governance, which is actually a new product for us, and risk management. We put all that together to connect those dimensions, to foster collaboration between the various stakeholders on transformation programs, all that, and that's important, with an outcome-driven approach, which means that we drive use cases and users towards specific deliverables so that they don't try to boil the ocean and focus on the use cases they need to transform and address first. So if that's the platform, I wanted to illustrate those programs with a few customers of ours, 3 on the screen. Airbus, I briefly mentioned before. Airbus has been a customer for 20 years, and the transformation program that they have, you can find on their website, by the way, it should be on the homepage. It's the DDMS program for digital transformation and management services. It includes 10 different departments to collaborate on the transformation of business processes, of applications and systems, all the data that flows within them and the risks to manage this transformation project and create the plane of tomorrow, which they think will make efficiency gains by 30%. BNP Paribas Cardiff, insurance company that is changing its business model from collective insurance to individual insurance. And they also support that change with HOPEX. And another example, Industrial Alliance, this is another insurance company in Canada. They also use HOPEX at an enterprise level to manage the documentation and transformation of their IT assets together with their business processes and risk management activities, including internal audit. So it's one single initiative to transform what they have and to manage the risks associated to it. So that's our unique differentiator. We bring this connected platform that you can use independently or as a whole, but our vision is that the different departments come together on this platform to collaborate, break the silos, and actually transform the organization in a safe way. And typically, when you want to do a cloud migration, for instance, it's not just an architect, it's not just a CIO who needs to say, okay, out of my 500 on-prem applications, I want to migrate 50 now to the cloud, and that's it. It involves a lot of people. It involves the users. It involves different other systems that are connected to it. It's an enterprise effort. And the customer journey, if you want to manage this in silos, it's a recipe for failure. And that's really what we do and help our customers with. Now, why are we different? There's one thing that we have noticed on the markets, and we've been around for 30 years, rejuvenating ourselves and reinventing ourselves all along, but still 30 years we have experience. And the one thing we have noticed is that for many years, architects have applied an academic approach to architecture. Architecture was born with frameworks, with models, and it was the science of architecture. Based on what? Based on documenting your strategy, your processes, your IT, your data, and spending all that time on documenting what you already have, especially when things change very fast, it doesn't work because it's a lot of effort for documenting and then maintaining all that data, and you don't have time to focus on transformation. The next gen approach to architecture, or call it business outcome driven approach, is a lot more pragmatic. It focuses on use cases, on automation. You automate the discovery of what you already have to focus on actual transformation. And it's collaborative. It brings all these departments together with an outcome-driven approach to focus on use cases. So that is the big change. And when it comes to the software, it involves the following key items. And that is, I'm very happy to say, what we have delivered in HopeX V5 that was released a week ago. Three main concepts. One, automation. Automation, meaning that if you want to document your applications on-prem, on cloud, on SaaS, your processes, your data, your risks, and then transform them, it's going to take you a lot of time. With HopeX V5, we automate all that. We automate the sniffing of your technologies and applications on your servers. We discover your SaaS services online. We discover the data in your databases. And we bring all that together in HopeX so that you can build the connections and then spend your time on useful tasks like making transformation plans, impact analysis, etc. So we automate this initial part, also thanks to technology providers that I'm going to illustrate in a minute. Automation to accelerate EA efforts. This strategy has been tested with many customers. They're very excited, and we have big plans for HopeX V5 actually. Second is connection. The connected EA means two things. Means one, that we bring together, as I said several times now, processes, IT, data, and risk. Why? Because these concepts, they work together. You cannot manage your risks. Risks don't fly in thin air. Risks are connected to operations. Risks apply to IT assets. So understanding those assets helps you assess your risks and the impact of your risks, just to give you an example. So the connected approach is key. But then it's also connecting the software itself, connecting HopeX to all your ecosystem. In fact, HopeX connects with your CMDB, like ServiceNow or BMC. It connects with other systems like cost management systems, human resources systems, etc. It lives together with the rest so that the single repository for documentation and transformation, it lives with the rest of the organization. And that's an important one. And then third, modern EA, next gen EA is smart. Smart meaning that the software, in this case HopeX, brings you insights based on automatic image recognition. We take a picture and automatically propose you a diagram based on it, a diagram that you can modify in the tool. Based on smart insights when it comes to transformation. The HopeX, the software based on the data in the software, based on the impacts and the links made in the software, will propose you which applications to invest on and which applications maybe to retire. And then you can make better and faster decisions. All that, of course, with this underlying outcome-driven approach that focuses on use cases to shift this practice of EA from a documentation exercise to an operational exercise. And this is showing a real momentum on the market right now. Now, I spoke about this discovery mechanisms. So this is a quick slide really to show you that we partner with external players and we have strong alliances with them for several years. Minit for process mining, where we can understand the workflows and processes to automatically build a diagram for you and then transform the processes. Beame for SaaS discovery. Erascent for the sniffing of your technologies on your servers, and CData for metadata discovery on your databases. And all this is nowadays natively included in HopeX so that you can have both the discovery and the transformation of your organization together. That is unique. I just want to say that because some competitors, they may have one of the four. We bring all four together for a complete picture, but easy to use. And this is a good transition because when I say easy to use, on the next slide, you'll see that we are the one single Gartner Magic Quadrant leader that is also a leader in the Gartner Peer Insights customer choice for 2020 and 2021. So technology leader, market leader, but also recognized by users, and that's hundreds of reviews that were made on the website where users testify that they're happy with HopeX. So we accumulate usability and a powerful software. More generally speaking, who is Mega? Mega is, as written, a software provider for enterprise architecture, data governance, and risk. We have over 2,000 customers around the world, built out of 30 years of experience. We are now we now have 10 offices in Europe, US, LATAM, and APAC, both Asia and Australia. We have customers, thanks to that, in 52 countries, also thanks to a wide partner network with almost 100, a little more than 100 partners around the world, resellers and referrals. For now, we make 40 million of revenue, but growing. The platform is a SaaS platform. Of course, we still have a few on-prem customers, but we're migrating them onto the SaaS, and 80% of new customers are on SaaS. And that's, I think, basically who we are. An important point also is that the management team nowadays may be, an average of 38 years old. So yes, we are an established company, but we also have that spirit of a startup and growing. I was referring to our offices. You can see them on the screen. We are 350 employees in the world, with about 200 here in Europe and the rest all around, and 10 offices that you can really see all around the globe. A word about the management team. Lucio De Risi, founder and president, and now in charge of operations is the three of us. Eric in charge of finance, Ludovic in charge of products, and we owe him a lot for next-gen EA on HopeX V5, and myself in charge of operations. Our customers are in all industries. 40%, to be said, are in banking and insurance, because transformation and managing complexity is a real challenge for them. But we really cover all industries. Then you have energy, public sector, education, pharma, retail, you name it. Why are we confident? Those are my last two slides. We are very confident for the future. We are already an established market leader. There is more competition than there used to be, but we have the keys to do a strong growth moving forward. I'm saying that, one, because the market is expanding. Enterprise architecture used to be a niche market. It used to be a little, a science for the experts, and now it's being democratized. We're seeing companies valued at millions of dollars, billions of dollars, investments in even some of our competitors, increasing competition where we used to have something like 5 competitors 20 years ago. Now we have 15 on the Gartner Magic Quadrants, growing maturity that we can see on the market. And we see directly a strong increase in leads and opportunities year after year. Then what makes me even more confident is Mega itself. Mega itself, because we have reconfirmed our leadership. Leaders in several quadrants, including the latest news, the Sparks Matrix by Quadrant Solutions, where they put us just number one, quite before the followers. We have a strong growth plan based on next-gen EA, which I presented with HOPE-X V5, based on increasing recurring revenues with our SaaS sales. And we can see now recurring revenues picking up. Based on new products, because with V5 comes data governance, and we're now entering a totally new market, which is metadata management and data governance, which has very strong synergies with enterprise architecture naturally. Chief data officers and architects, they speak, and they want to use interconnected information. So that for us is a strong pillar of growth. And also geographically, we are growing fast in Asia, together also with the US. And then of course, our partners help us grow around the world, in Middle East, in the Nordics, in LATAM, but two strong pillars in the US and Asia. In fact, just in 2021, in the first half of 2021, we doubled our new logo sales compared to 2020. And to be precise, what I mean is that we doubled the number of new logo deals that we made just in the first 6 months of the year. So I believe we have the right team. We reinvented what we do once again, and we're ready to succeed. That's for my presentation. Simon, do you have any questions for me?
Luca, thanks for that great presentation. Really, really strongly told story, great progress, and very, very impressive. So a couple of questions immediately come to mind. Obviously, you're spread across 10 offices across the world. Can you tell us a little bit more about the distribution of those employees and also the distribution of the revenue of the business?
Yes, good question. Employees, our headquarters are in France. We have quite a few offices in Europe. In total, we have about 200 employees in Europe. And so more than half of our employees, and the rest are spread in our different offices around the world. Quite a bit in Boston, and then all around, is it Sydney, Singapore, Mexico, etc. When it comes to revenue, I'm happy to say that revenues are evening out around the world, where we used to have a lot in Europe. Now we have 40% in Europe, 35% of software bookings in the US and America, and 25% now in Asia. Asia used to be under 10% just a few years back. And now with big customers in India, in Australia, including the Ministry of Defense in Australia, now it's about 25% of software bookings, and I hope growing.
Fantastic. So just maybe unpack the business model a bit more in terms of sort of the revenue split. How much consulting do you do? How much is sort of SaaS software? And what proportion is recurring in the business?
Okay. So the business model for us is pretty straightforward. We're a software provider. We sell software, and now we sell it mainly in SaaS. So 80% of new software deals are on SaaS. Then there's always the government agencies with very high security requirements that still prefer an on-prem installation, but now we're mostly SaaS. And our objective is to be full SaaS in 5 years. When it comes to services for us are mainly integration services. When it comes to an enterprise-wide repository, there is a little bit of integration. Is it security settings? Is it adaptation of the software and training? For now, that is, I say 30% of revenues and decreasing as the software keeps improving. And that's basically it, right?
Yeah, that's really helpful. In terms of, obviously you've got a really strong position, you've got a really competitive position. Are there any particular competitors you would call out as sort of note, or how do you see your sort of competitive differentiation?
Okay, so EA used to be quite a niche market. 20 years back, there were maybe 5 key competitors. 2 of them we used to see more than the others. Now the market is increasing, which I'm very happy about. And you can see 15 or 16 competitors on the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So that shows that it's picking up. But what makes us different is really two things. The connected approach is key because business processes, enterprise architecture, data and risk, they work together. There's a lot of RFPs that require all four or subparts together, and we are the only player to provide that. So as soon as you have a major customer with hundreds of thousands or more dollar deals for these components or subparts, it's usually for us. The second thing is the next gen approach. Automation is key when it comes to EA, so that you don't spend your time documenting what you have by hand. And this automation that we're bringing is showing a lot of momentum. I think we're going to grow a lot thanks to that.
Sounds really, really promising and exciting, and your confidence of your success seems really to come through clearly. Just last two questions from me. One, just because you've got a lot of new product coming through, it sounds like there's quite a lot of opportunity to cross-sell some of the new modules into the existing customer base. Maybe a few words on that. Yeah,
because that's actually a decisive turning point for us. We are EA first right now. Of course, this is our core business. We want to continue to be the leaders, undisputable leaders on enterprise architecture. But at the same time, we're bringing in data governance, which is a whole new market. We've always sold information architecture that is part of EA, but data governance is the next step when it comes to information management. It's directly connected to what we do, but of course, it's a new market. So what we're trying to do now is to to conquer a part of the market on data governance, of course, starting with existing customers. By 6 months, I think we'll have quite a few customers, and that will be the time probably for some kind of acceleration. When I say 6 months, it could be up to 15 months, but we see coming up some room for acceleration, definitely.
I mean, it sounds like there's a really strong organic growth story here. How do you see M&A potentially playing into the next sort of few years of the business?
That's it's funny you asked that, actually, because it is a topic we are thinking about, of course. With all those partnerships that we've built, there is probably some room one day for merging. It's a bit early to say, but definitely on the back of our minds.
Well, that's probably a good place to draw this to a close. Look, Luca, thank you so much for presenting your company today at the Baird European Tech and Services Conference 2021. Really looking forward to seeing how the mega story continues and grows. Undoubtedly, it's going to be a success. So thank you so much for your time today.
I'm just as excited as you are. Thank you so much for the opportunity.